Satanist! Hail, Satan! Hail, Satan!
Greetings, heathens. Welcome to Hail Satan. This is the podcast exploring Satanism, culture, and life in general through the eyes of modern Satanists. My name is Joseph Rose. I'm a part of the #1 most kick-ass congregation in the land called Satanic Delco, and we welcome members from anywhere in the world. If you want to learn a little more about that, visit satanicdelco.com. Today, I'm going to speak with Aleks, who is an asexual Satanist. To my knowledge, I've never known another asexual Satanist, so I was pretty excited to talk all about it. If you have a moment, please visit the website at hailsatanpodcast.com. You'll find links to join me on social media, a form to send me an email, which I strongly encourage you to do, and a link to join up with the whole gang on Patreon. If you do choose to join us, we have a few different tiers to choose from with various benefits, including Greetings from Hell, which is the one-of-a-kind Satanic Postcard of the Month Club. But aside from that, joining Satanic Delco grants you access to our private Facebook group, our lively private Discord server, our weekly Zoom gatherings, game nights, movie nights, music Zooms, full video episodes of Late Night with Satanic Delco, stickers in the mail, bonus content, special events, and much more. If you're interested in being part of an active, eclectic satanic community, Satanic Delco is where you'll find it. Now, before I get to my guest, I wanted to take a minute to catch up a little and just keep you informed of some things. First, a major announcement. For the 4th time, Satanic Delco is hosting our Dance with the Devil Masquerade Ball. In some years past, this was a private event open only to members of Satanic Delco. However, like last year, this year's event is open to outsiders. So, if you are a Satanist, a witch, a weirdo, or just a cool motherfucker that wants to experience a masquerade ball hosted by a congregation of Satanists, you are invited. Tickets for the event are on sale now. You can visit satanicdelco.com/dance to get additional details and purchase your tickets. Satanists from all around the country will be traveling to Delco to party that weekend, and I expect it to be a tremendous time, as it always is. Aside from that, I want to remind everyone of a thing called Late Night with Satanic Delco. What is that? This is a live streaming late night show hosted by the finest satanic congregation in the land. The show has been on a break for the summer, but will be coming back in the fall. We don't have a date set just yet, but go subscribe to the Hail Satan podcast YouTube channel and all of the other internet shit. When we come back, I imagine we'll do an episode looking back on our satanic summer. And let me tell you guys, Satanic Delco has been as active and busy as any time I can remember, which is amazing, really. And if you're missing the podcast and the guests and the topics we discuss, you are missing out on a ton of that stuff if you aren't a member of Satanic Delco. But all right, guys, let me welcome my guest. We are joined by the wonderful and powerful Aleks. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Just enjoying the lovely Friday.
Yeah, Friday and summertime. Are we allowed to say roughly what region of the world you live in?
So I'm in California, in San Francisco Bay Area.
Sunny California. How's the weather been out there recently as we're recording this toward the end of summer?
When it comes to the weather, we are pretty boring. It's the same all year.
Yeah.
It's hot and sunny. So, I mean, it's a good kind of boring. I can do that for sure.
Yes, I'm a little jealous. It's really the only thing that ever tempts me toward California.
Yeah.
Well, all right. I checked in with you before, but I want to ask it publicly on the show so everyone can hear it just in case. Do I have your consent, Aleks, during our interview to ask you any number of very personal, private type of questions?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Just checking. I don't want, I'll get the emails about he's bullying this girl or whatever.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
yeah.
You'll probably get them anyway. So
Yeah, that's okay. Where are you from originally?
I was born in Poland, so I'm Polish/Ukrainian. I like to underline the Ukrainian part lately.
When did you move to the US and why did you move to the US?
I moved here around 10 years ago, maybe a little less. I came just for a year and then figured out that this is the place where I want to be. So yeah.
Oh yeah. So you were planning just a visit.
Yeah, I was here as a exchange program.
Okay.
And I knew I won't stay where I lived before in Europe. I knew I'm gonna travel around somewhere, and I just couldn't find my place really.
Mm.
And yeah, I came here. I came here to California. Actually, I started living exactly in the same place I still live in. And I was like, oh, damn, this is the place I want to be. This is exactly where I fit for once. So, yeah.
Yeah. And was the weather a really big part of that?
I mean, I'm not complaining.
Yeah,
It's nice. I wouldn't be like the main, but now, if I would need to move anywhere else, that would be a problem because I'm so spoiled.
Right.
Yeah.
Based on what your thoughts or expectations were of the United States before you came, how has it lived up to all of that?
It's very different. I feel like Europeans, especially Eastern Europe, they have crazy stereotypes about Americans and US in general. And they are 90% not true.
Mm.
Culturally, it's different, very different between here and Europe, but it's also in a totally other way than you would expect.
Yeah, it's different than Europe, but different than what Europeans think it would be.
Yes.
Right.
And also I realize I live in, Silicon Valley, so it's a little different from the rest of the country.
Yeah.
I'm in one of these bubbles, I would say. But yeah, it's definitely culturally, this is the place for me. And I didn't much fit to Eastern Europe. That's why I was looking around and like, hey, I need to go somewhere. So this is definitely, people are more open. It's more diverse in here. There's no religion pressing on you on every step on what you need to do and how you need to act and behave. So that's nice.
In the United States.
Yes.
And it's funny. I sort of love hearing you describe it that way because I'm sure you know the type of description that you might get from Americans that have been only here for their whole lives. And, they imagine that other countries are so much better or freer and we're living under this oppressive, situation. And I get it. America's not all peaches and cream for everybody, but it is nice to hear people with a more diverse experience sort of compare the things.
Yeah, I think a lot of people here don't realize or don't appreciate what they have and how they can live and how other people all around the world have it. So
yes,
it's good to have a perspective sometimes.
We're spoiled brats, Aleks, in the United States is what we are.
You said it.
I did. I'm aware of it. I'm not one of these people. But all right. When did you first become aware of Satanism?
That was definitely a journey. I grew up in a Catholic family. Again, it was Poland. So, and I was very much made to go to church and all that stuff. But as a young teen, my dad would open a door for me to hey, let's practice some critical thinking. Here are the books, read about different religions, and here are some different options. So I started just thinking more broadly, maybe, let's say. But Satanism per se, I would say I discovered it in college. So when I was 19 or 20, somewhere there, when I had a chance to oppose and discuss and have this discourse about religion and some ethics with other people. And I think that's when I definitely discovered it and was oh, that's something for me. it was somewhere between Satanism and paganism,
Hmm.
which I believe, or for myself, it comes pretty close together. But yeah, officially, as like a member of any satanic group or community, I would say it's just a few years. But we always say, a Satanist is born, not made.
Right, right.
So it was always there. I just had to like meet the right people and have the right answers to my questions.
Yeah.
So yeah.
As we sit here today, you don't have to get too in depth on it, but what does your Satanism look like now? Is it more about LaVey's philosophy or a mix of some different things?
I believe like what LaVey said is like a foundation for a lot of Satanists. I don't necessarily, I wouldn't believe in what Church of Satan says right now and what they do. I also don't agree with TST, so that's a whole different story. So
Sure.
I'm just, just doing my own thing, really.
Sure.
I do definitely believe in the belief or follow the seven tenets. Definitely, this makes sense and it's a good base. And I have the Satanic Bible. I do like to read it, but I also just like doing my own thing. That's why we have the Delco, right? We
Yeah.
just do our own thing.
Yeah. And you feel like both the Satanic Bible and the seven tenets of the Satanic Temple, you feel that they both offer you something and you're able to benefit from both without needing to, I don't know, be all in adhering to either one.
Yeah, absolutely. You can definitely get something from either. They do and say and did in the past some valuable things, but I wouldn't ever like fully immerse myself in either of the organizations because I just don't agree with either of them. So yeah,
Got it.
but like locally, I'm here in California, so like especially in San Francisco, so
Mhm.
LaVey is definitely like closer to my heart. But that
Yes.
sounds that's
No, I
interesting
kind of like it.
thing
I
to
kind of
say.
like the sound of it. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. Now, I got to know you a little more. Well, we haven't said it, but you're a member of Satanic Delco, which means you are a strong, intelligent person. But I didn't
That's a statement.
really get to know you a little more until we started doing some work on Late Night with Satanic Delco a few months back, I guess.
Mhm.
And we started chatting more, and you got on and did some of the episodes with us. And one of them was sex and Satanism. I think that was one of our general topics of discussion. And
Yeah.
as we were preparing for that one, I think you sent me a message maybe and said, this is a funny one. I'm going to do this episode with you on sex and Satanism, but I am asexual. And
Yes.
this like blew my mind up. I was like, what? That's impossible. What the hell do you mean, Aleks? I don't know. I've met a lot of people throughout my life, and I might have known some asexual people, but I don't remember being aware of it. I don't remember anyone I've known saying to me that they're asexual. And so that was new and interesting. And then the combination of asexual and Satanist was definitely a new one. And so I couldn't wait to just dig more into it and ask you so many questions. So, at its most basic level, what is asexuality?
I mean, it's a basic level, but it's important because I don't think a lot of people know, and there's so many misconceptions. Oh, perfect. That
Well, yeah, good, because that's my next question.
There we go. Yeah. So basically, I mean, asexuality is a spectrum, so that's important. Like for every person, it's a little different. It can be a little different. Not experiencing sexual attraction or experiencing it in a different, like alternate way, like less or just different in a different situation, culturally or psychologically. So yeah, just pretty much a not experiencing sexual attraction at all or experiencing it in a different way.
Okay. And I guess just for a frame of reference here, what are your feelings about your own sexuality and gender? How do you identify all these things?
That's a interesting question because I don't know if you know this, but we had this huge debate yesterday on Discord in one of the threads about gender, and I don't think we ever closed that conversation, and I don't think I know really.
Okay.
But yeah, I am asexual. Which I don't think that for a lot of people it doesn't go together. I'm either pan-romantic or pansexual, which some people would argue with me about that. But yeah, and I would say I am with gender. That's a good question. I have no idea.
Okay.
I was going as a woman my whole life. I am kind of playing around with like non-binary and with my pronouns lately, and trying to figure out who I am and what's going on. And it was actually interesting to discuss with some people yesterday and last few days, and like figure out that you are not alone in it. And a lot of people, a lot of adults my age and older, I'm in my 30s, also don't necessarily know their own gender, which is interesting. It's you would think it's like such a basic knowledge, but no, it's
Yeah.
a lot of like trying to discover yourself and know yourself. So it's interesting.
Yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think what happens in some cases is, like you mentioned, our Discord chat where people are, talking about a lot of this kind of stuff. What sometimes happens is people at your age, anywhere, their 20s, 30s, and above, they get into an environment like our group where people are talking about any number of things, and they see conversations happen and questions being asked and answered, and maybe that reminds them or opens them up to a reality based on like, oh, I've had these feelings about myself, or I've been wondering this, or I thought this was just a weird random feeling I had, but now I see that there's 3 or 10 or 12 other people having these sort of thoughts and feelings, or they've had them already and they can tell me. It's really interesting. And when somebody bumps into that, like in your case, maybe that opens up possibilities that you weren't even focused on before.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, you need to like start trying to like rediscover yourself. And if you are like questioning one thing, you're going to start questioning more things about yourself. But also you need that community to like first to find a label, even though we don't like labels in general, but to like ask the right questions and have people who have similar experiences to like compare and discuss. Without that, it's really hard. Like with asexuality, I knew pretty much my whole life I am asexual, but I never had a word for it. So I didn't even have an idea that it's actually a thing until like 2 years ago or so.
Yeah. So you were explaining, but to simplify, what is asexuality? Does that generally mean a lack of sexual attraction to others?
Yeah, which is interesting, I think, because for me, it was in my 30s when, you realize that, wait, so people see and experience world and other people, other relations differently than I do. Like when you meet a person, you think about that person in different categories than I do. And I had no idea that the perspective can be different. So it's really interesting when you're like starting to talk with other aces for asexual people. It's like, oh, okay, so other people just see it differently. It's just a matter of realizing that it's different and not wrong, and just the experiences are very different.
And yeah, this is so interesting. I want to get into it because it just on the surface, the sound of it, it is so different and so just foreign to my experience of life. If I just live my average day, I wake up in the morning, I look at the internet, I go out in the world, I go to the store, I go to do whatever I do on the course of a day, I might see 40 people that I'm attracted to, just walking around doing a day, Most of the time, I don't give it much of a thought. It's sort of a passing reality. Like, oh, there's a red car. Oh, there's a pretty woman. I'm attracted to both of those things. When you're watching television and looking at magazines and living your life, you're seeing all these, what are people into? Jason Momoa's and all these other guys. You see all these things. No part of you, it feels any attraction. You're just like, there is a man or there is a woman and they look fine and I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, I like visually, it's like I can definitely appreciate, oh, they look good or
Sure,
they're handsome or whatever.
Yeah.
But there's no sexual attraction behind that. And that's sometimes hard to tell because I wouldn't know how it is for a person who does experience the sexual attraction. When you say you're walking to the store and you see a woman that you are attracted to, what does it mean for you?
What does it mean? What does it mean?
There we go.
Gosh, it's a more complicated question than it feels like it should be. I don't know what it means.
Yeah.
I mean, there are less frequent cases. Well, I guess I'll talk about it in a more specific way. When we have a relationship, by the time we've already gotten into a relationship, let's say we have a girlfriend, a boyfriend, anything, I know that I'm sexually attracted to my partner. And without that, they probably never would have become my partner. Sexual attraction certainly isn't the only thing that a relationship should be built on, but at least for me, it is one thing that is required for a relationship to be built on. So without that, I would feel that something in the relationship is lacking or has failed or something like that. So in the case of just seeing people in the world that are attractive, that's maybe a little different. I can recognize that they're attractive, and I might feel, I don't know, saying someone is attractive is very casual and surface level. Like a person might just walk by you in the store and you think, oh, they were handsome. And it doesn't really, I'm not thinking about sexual thoughts. I just think, oh, they're a nice looking person and okay. But it can go beyond that. You know, when I was a young man and I would see Lucy Liu in a movie or something like that, I had feelings. I had thoughts that went beyond, a little bit beyond, oh, she's a fine looking person in the world. And I can't help those thoughts. And sometimes they're invasive. I'm trying to just get work done. And I have these thoughts of sexual attraction or desire or whatever just come at me out of nowhere. But all right, enough about me and my sexual desire. You mentioned that there are a lot of misconceptions. What are some of those ideas that you've heard or that you run into sometimes?
I need to go back because I asked you that question on purpose, because in the case of a asexual person, you would take that whole part out.
Yeah.
Like there's no attraction, and you don't know that most of the people do have it. So, you know, when you see, even as a teen, you know, you see a hot person in the movie, you're like, they're looking nice, and that's it. It's like, it took me a while that it's the most basic thing, and it sounds so stupid, but it took me a while and a lot of conversations with other people. Once I realized that I am asexual and that's a thing, that wait, so you, when you see like a hot dude or a hot girl, you want to do things with them.
Yes.
Like, oh, so
Yes.
that click. It's like the most satisfying thing in the world when you realize, oh, so people just see world differently. That is, So you just take that whole part out of your life, and it's totally different story.
Wow. Yeah, it is such a fundamental piece of the human experience for me that I take for granted. Yeah. It just almost never dawned on me that someone was able to walk through life without all of this. So I was going to ask, when did you become asexual? And we did kind of mention it, but would it be when did you become asexual, or is it more when did you realize that you always were? Is that the case?
Yes, it's definitely the case. I always were. And I remember myself as a kid thinking like, oh my gosh, you know, I want to have a husband, blah, 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 but I never want to have sex with them. But I would never, like, as a few-year-old kid who was just discovering those things, like I would never even know that I'm just asexual. So that's a thing. I was like, oh, you know, I'm young. I'm just discovering thing. It's going to come with time. It never did. So yeah.
Got it.
Actually, I found a label for it, and I realized what it is and how it works just a couple years ago, actually. Last few years, I would say, it was a lot of like self-discovery, and I was trying different things and like ended in a way like, hey, something is wrong and I need to find a way to fix it. So it was a long journey to figure out that it's not wrong, it's just different. But yeah, I was just talking about that a few days ago with my close friend. I was saying that I would never tell it to the person who was like the last step that made me realize I'm asexual, because I could like ruin the person's like, oh, so you were the person who made me realize, you know, you it wasn't great. Like,
yeah. I was fine. I was fine before I met you, and now I'm asexual.
Yeah, exactly. I was just thinking because I saw that person a few days ago, and I was like, oh, can you imagine if I tell them? I would just like crush their soul. Like, hey, you were so bad.
Yeah.
I'm asexual now.
Yeah. So you don't experience direct sexual attraction to people, correct? We got
Yes.
that. Do you have, I don't know if you can easily separate these two things, but unattached to any specific person out there, do you have any sense of sexual desire?
Not really.
Not really.
No.
So would it
Mm-mm.
be fair? And again, I apologize for any of my language or intrusiveness.
That's all
Do
fine.
you experience being horny?
In my personal case, not really.
Really? Okay. Okay. Gosh,
Yeah.
Alex, this is wild. I mean, I'm just this is
Yeah.
as different as anything could be. This is very
Yeah.
interesting. So you do not really experience any of that. So I guess it goes without saying, maybe if that's
Mhm.
all true. Well, we'll pretend for a moment that you represent all asexual people. You don't
Mhm.
actually, but of course we're just generalizing.
Yeah. I'm gonna
Uh,
get canceled here for speaking for everyone, you know?
Let's try. Asexual people probably do not care about porn, or is that not right?
Like we can enjoy it, right?
Okay.
So I think we should start with that, which is the most common misconception, that the thing that we don't experience attraction doesn't mean that we don't have sex, first thing, ever.
Oh,
And the
yes.
second, that we don't have pleasure from it.
Right.
So it's
Wow.
not, it's two different things, you know. We can, if we want to, we can have sex, we can have normal relationship with a allo person who totally experience it in like a normal. Oh, there won't be a video, so me putting quotes. It's not the, but like a person who experienced sexual attraction normally, we could build a relationship. We could have sex. It's is it the most fun thing in the world? No, but we can still definitely do it.
Okay, so yes, tell me a little bit about this. This is every moment of this is more and more fascinating to me. You and I'm almost stopping myself because I don't want to ask you crazy, like rude questions. And yeah, obviously, I don't want to be rude. I'm just have so much curiosity and
Yeah,
I don't want to say crazy things.
I wouldn't, agree to that conversation if I was not ready for personal questions. So
Yes.
that's okay.
So is it fair to say that you have and would have sex with a partner who you are not sexually attracted to?
Yeah, when you were like attracted in many other ways, you think they're pretty, they're hot, they're handsome, they are your person, you are close in other ways. Yeah, you could have sex.
And is the experience of that, or at least can it be, a good, positive, enjoyable sexual experience?
It can be, yes.
Yeah. And that's
It not
probably
necessarily have to. Like there is a lot of people who are totally averse to any sexual activity, so they're
right.
like, no, this never, just not happening. But yeah, especially when you like get closer with a person,
Yeah.
like on any other levels, you're like being together, you like,
It becomes more of an act of love or closeness rather than
yes,
a sexual experience.
yes.
Got it. Have you personally had experiences where asexuality has directly affected a romantic relationship or a potential romantic relationship?
Absolutely. Especially before I realized that I am asexual and asexuality is a thing, me trying, to avoid sex for as long as possible. Like, hey, yeah, I'm gonna go home right now. Sorry.
Oh,
And that's definitely affecting the people. I was told, like, in more or less direct way, like, oh my gosh, you don't want to have sex to me. You don't find me attractive. I'm like, oh, I don't even know what to tell you about that. But then that was actually when you hear it multiple times, you're like, hey, something is just not right. Like, and the natural reaction often is like, something is wrong with me because, like, I like you or I love you. I am really close to you. I want to spend time with you, but I don't want to have sex. This is just not a thing.
yeah.
So yeah, it definitely affected a lot of my potential relationship or relationships I did have, because it's just, if you don't really have a label for it and you don't know how to deal with it, it's just never going to really click between the two of you.
Yeah. And you said you sort of really came to realize all this within just the last couple of years?
Yes.
And now, since the point that you did become aware of this, if you're out there, I have no idea if you would be, but if you're out there on like a dating app or a way to meet people, is that something that you put out there very directly up front, or is that something that someone would sort of learn about you as they got more personal and got to know you?
If there is an option, which on like dating apps, more often than not, there isn't an option to like put asexual as as an option on the profile.
Yeah.
If there is an option, I would definitely put it, or I would put it in the description, because I want to be upfront. I want people to know, like, if we're gonna go on a date, I want to know that them to know that I'm asexual. There is also like specifically dating apps or dating sites specifically for ace people, so that totally changes the game.
Oh, they have those.
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
But on like other like more mainstream dating apps or sites, I'm trying to put it out there, which is interesting because sometimes that's the first question, sometimes someone's like, oh, but you're asexual, how does that work? Because I'm not. So,
right. Yeah, I would be so, just like this conversation, if I went on a dating app and found some lady that I really liked or thought I might like, and then she said I'm asexual, my first instinct would feel like some sort of defeat. I'd be like, of course.
Yep.
Of course she doesn't want to have sex with me.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Wow. But okay. Yeah. A dating app for asexual people, or the ability to categorize yourself as asexual, does seem like it would be incredibly helpful.
Yeah. Which is not surprisingly, even on like LGBTQ plus sites who are specifically for those people, the option to put like asexual on your profile is not that common, which is interesting because like asexuality is still like, I don't know, not really out there, and it's such a small group of population, and kind of forgotten even in like queer communities, that it's like, oh, you're out there, we know you are there, but not necessarily gonna include you.
I'm fascinated by all of the countless different ways that someone is made to feel like the outsider. And that's a thing I think about and have for a long, long time. And everybody can sort of marginalize themselves down to the tiniest little thing. But you're a woman, you're a Satanist, and now you're asexual. And in addition to however many other things, has it ever felt to you like an unfortunate, isolating factor that you had to work against?
Absolutely. Unfortunately. But yes, I would love to, get that negative part. Like, oh my gosh, it would be so much easier if I wasn't asexual or wasn't queer. I'm trying to get it out of my head and not think in these categories, but it's definitely out there, and it's making your life harder in some ways. I shouldn't probably say it, but it's true. Like 1 or 2% of population that you can match with, really. It's so funny. Like, I have people in my life who are like, oh my gosh, you are like in your 30s, why are you single? It's like, go on a dating app. I'm like, you fucker. Like,
if only
it's so
you knew.
easy for you. Like, you are straight allosexual, you go on a dating app and you can find a person pretty quickly, one way or another. If it's even a one night stand, it's a little harder for me. So it's really affecting my life because like it's harder. It's like you're not gonna that easily find that person.
Yeah. Just a moment ago, I was just saying we can all marginalize ourselves and find whatever the smallest categories are that we fit in. And I was saying, you're asexual, you're a woman, you're a Satanist. But even that, I said you're a woman. And we just got done talking about you're sort of iffy on gender labels right now. So even that, if you're not feeling like a woman, that even puts you in one extra little small category. Maybe you're non-binary, maybe you're whatever it is that you end up feeling. That's even more of a somewhat limiting factor in these ways.
There's a lot to it. That's the thing. Once you like agreeing, like deep inside that you are queer in one way or another, then you're going to discover more things. Like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, like this is different. And also, that's something that we were talking about yesterday with some people in the Discord, that it's more like about agreeing that all of the people in one way or another, they are some way queer, like either, but it's just like discovering yourself and like agreeing that, oh, okay, not like following the norms or like what's in society, what's approved and what's normal. Again, I'm putting quotes here.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty convinced that every person ever could find some queerness in them, and like, oh, it's something is, either with gender or their attraction or wherever. How did I get here? Like, I don't even, I just drifted somewhere.
This is what happens.
Yeah.
So in the process of all of this, while you're feeling all of these ways that you might be isolated or feeling unusual from what everybody else is doing, have there been times where you've consciously tried to ignore it or push against it? Be like, I'm not asexual. This is what people do. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to find some people. We're going to have some sex and I'm going to be normal. Have you tried to force it?
Yeah, absolutely. And then you can do it and then you're totally miserable.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my gosh, this is just not worth it. And I don't know what I'm doing and why is it wrong,
Because that leads you into experiences that inevitably don't really feel good or fulfilling to you.
Yeah, that's actually what made me question it over and over again this few years ago when I discovered asexuality. Maybe I'm going to a little bit of like a TMI right now, but like I met with some dude at the concert and we just stayed over and blah blah blah. We had a nice evening.
Yeah.
And then I had to recover from it physically and mentally for days. I'm like, oh, that someone is not right. Like this should be fun. And in the morning I should be okay. Let's have breakfast and just never see each other again. But I was like, oh my gosh, this is awful.
Was the person and the experience generally nice enough and fine?
Yeah, it would be totally fine if not the fact that I'm asexual and it's just not my thing.
Yeah. And then you feel, what are those feelings? Is it just like a regret or why did I even do that? Or why doesn't it feel happy?
That's it. I think that's a good one. Like, why do I not feel good about it and happy? Why do I feel like one regret? Two, it's just like, I don't know. It's just something doesn't work well. It doesn't agree with you. And you're like, ugh,
yeah,
I feel awful about it.
And when you did sort of settle in more recently to this idea, was that some sort of a weight lifted? Do you feel much more at ease and comfortable now?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's like, it's so freeing to realize like what's happening and who you are and that it's actually a thing. And it's not like you are broken. It's just you are experiencing things differently. It's like the most freeing feeling ever. I literally remember when I like this specific moment when I realized, and I was like sending voice messages to my friends, like, oh my gosh, telling all about it. That's that one person that actually asks questions and is interested, because I feel like people don't really care, like, okay, you're asexual. But that person was asking questions and I was talking about it over and over. And she was like, oh my gosh, you sound so different, like free and happy about it. This is amazing. I was like, it took me 32 years to figure it out. But yeah, it feels good finally.
I just thought of this. I was getting ready to lead us into talking about some connections of your asexuality with Satanism, of course. Mm-hmm. But I want to ask about your experience in a satanic community. I don't know what other satanic groups you may have participated in, but you've been a member of Satanic Delco for a while. And we're open about sexual discussions on our platforms. And like we've talked about, you've participated in various things, and many of the members do. Have you found any conflict with these feelings or identifying as asexual with Satanism in general or with satanic community? Because we know that many people who identify as Satanists and look for things like sexual power, sexual pleasure, indulgence in a general sense, all of these things, sex is inherently a part of that for some people, for most. So have you ever felt sort of at a distance from satanic community or any experiences like that?
Not at all. Surprisingly, no, not at all. Like totally the opposite. I feel like there's so much support and room for discussion, which is really cool. I was a little bit nervous before that late night episode that we did
Mm-hmm.
because you knew, but none of the other people who were on that episode knew that I'm asexual.
Yeah.
And that was specifically in sex and Satanism discussion. I was like, oh my gosh, that's going to be interesting if like in the middle of it, I jump out and say like, hey, actually you were wrong.
Right.
Which is
I
not
was just
true.
I was just waiting for a moment where, we're talking about some sexual topic and you would just be like, well, I don't know anything about this. I'm asexual.
Yeah, it was interesting and I was nervous, but it's like after that, first of all, there was so much really cool feedback as we were going and talking about it during the show.
Yes.
And then like after we discussed it on Discord, and it was really cool to like see that people don't care. We have such different experiences in Satanism and how we experience it. And it's like, you do it your own way, it's fine.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Again, I don't know what exactly how it would go in many other places, but in our group, at least speaking for myself, I know I would be so attracted to the idea of just a curiosity, like, oh, here's this person who is, the only things we definitely know about Aleks is that she identifies as a Satanist and now she's asexual, and that alone, that is interesting. I want to know more about it.
There is something about Delco that's like the differences are like just a field for discussion, and people are very supportive of it.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be like, hey, come to Delco right now and like join us. But
that's
come
okay.
join us.
Yeah.
But I am part of like a couple of other satanic communities, but also like LGBT plus groups and stuff. And there's no other group that I would be so open and talk about so many things with total strangers as I do on our Delco Discord. Like the discussions that go around like on like LGBT and stuff, like they go so deeply that I never on no other group I would talk so openly. So this is really cool.
That's nice. That's nice.
Yeah.
What about the idea of your own, what should we call it? Sex magic. Let's just say, do you have desire? I'm trying to figure out a way how to like, what is the question here? Mm-hmm. Do you want people to be sexually attracted to you? I know that's a weird one. It's one, I think a lot of people take it for granted. We don't always think about it in those terms, but if we do think about it, I think the answer is yes. For me, do I want to be attractive to people? I mean, I guess generally, yes. I mean, I'm not actively seeking out a partner, but I guess if we had the choice, I'd rather be attractive to others.
Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, yeah, totally. You want to be attractive. I want to be attractive to others. I wouldn't know how to make them sexually attracted to me because I don't know how it works.
Right.
But
maybe you don't know how it works because you don't feel those same feelings in the other direction.
Yeah.
But do you know how it works sort of secondhand through seeing it play out in culture?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that sort of how you know how it works?
Yeah, I mean, our culture is so like sexualized, like in one way or another, sex is everywhere, so it's hard to avoid it. So yeah, I do know how it works. Yeah. That is a funny thing to say, again, for like a 30-something years old person. Yeah. But yeah, I do know how it works. But on the other hand, yeah, I want people to be like, not attracted to me. Maybe like find me attractive. Maybe that's the better way to phrase it.
Sure.
Do I want people to have sex with me? No.
Right.
Because like,
right.
If I...
having sex and the wanting to have sex are two very different things. I want people to want to have sex with me. That does not mean I want to have sex with them.
Okay.
You know?
See, I think you're stepping in the area that I am like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, here, let me think of some sort of example for you.
Mhm.
I don't know that none of them would probably be good, but we can just imagine there's a scenario where if someone is sexually attracted to you, and you could replace that with other things, it could be attracted to you for other reasons, but sexual attraction is one reason. If they're sexually attracted to you, you've got a little bit of power, leverage, advantage, whatever that might be. You can imagine, I don't know how this works. It's probably all inappropriate, but maybe it plays out in the workplace. You know, you've got this boss over there and he thinks you're a real fox. And he's like, I'm going to be nice to this lady because I find her sexually attractive. And you know he does. And you're never going to have sex with this old creep. But you're like, okay, I could wear the dress that he likes and I'm going to ask for a raise. And I'm going to use my power to get shit that benefits me. And I am never going to give him the sex that he dreams of, no matter what. But I can still use that power.
Yeah.
And I don't know, just speaking from the perspective of a straight man, there are countless moments in life where a man is completely powerless when it comes to a woman that he's attracted to, and she has a whim or a desire or a whatever, and we are powerless. Basically, you've got us, you're now in control, and you're going to run the show if you play your cards right.
That's true. That I am aware of that, and that feels good when you know that you have that power. That's for sure. So yeah, if that's an answer to your question, yes, that's definitely something I do like to experience, or do like to see that people can find me attractive in that way, or like I can have that power over them, which is even in like satanic way, it's good be able to have some power and
of
be
course
powerful, right?
Yeah, that's what we call magic, right? That's that's lesser magic. You know, that's us wielding that. But all right, we're talking a little bit about Satan. We have when we did the late night episode, if I remember correctly, I had a quote from LaVey. I don't remember. I had one or two. I don't remember which ones I had, but I have some here.
Yeah, you got me. Like, I was surprised then. Like, I didn't know about those quotes. I did dig a little deeper after, and now I'm ready. Then I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. We'll take a look at some of these. Let me see what I got. Quote from the Satanic Bible. Satanism condones any type of sexual activity which properly satisfies your individual desires, be it heterosexual, homosexual, bisexual, or even asexual if you choose. And I guess there's not too much to say about that one. That's just Anton stating that, just like he says, it condones any type of sexual activity. Yeah, pretty easy. But there's old Anton being very open to all the different things. I know sometimes people give him a reputation that he might not be, but in this case, he is.
That's something I don't understand. Like, he was, at least like in his writing, he was so open about things, and like, hey, it's your own way religion, and now people are trying to put it in those like very tight frames. I'm like, ooh, he wouldn't be happy about it.
It is a little weird. You know, people from the present day with their more limited experiences or whatever, look back at another time completely, another era of the world, and sort of judge it by today's standards and language and culture. And it's not really apples to apples.
Yeah.
You have to consider what was happening in the world at the time. But all right, there's a longer little bit here. I'll try to read it and not take forever. He says, and I should note that this was a section where LaVey is talking about fetishes and deviations in particular. He says, even the asexual has a deviation, his asexuality. It is far more abnormal to have a lack of sexual desire, unless illness or old age or another valid reason has caused the wane, than it is to be sexually promiscuous. However, if a Satanist chooses sexual sublimation above overt sexual expression, that is entirely his own affair. In many cases of sexual sublimation or asexuality, any attempt to emancipate himself sexually would prove devastating to the asexual. Asexuals are invariably sexually sublimated by their jobs or hobbies. all the energy and driving interest which would normally be devoted to sexual activity is channeled into other pastimes or into their chosen occupations. If a person favors other interests over sexual activity, it is his right, and no one is justified in condemning him for it. However, the person should at least recognize the fact that this is a sexual sublimation. That was a mouthful.
There was a lot. There's a lot to those quotes.
Do you have any feeling about any of that? Do you even catch what he's saying there?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a lot. And also you should see how many ways this one, or this is two paragraphs are like marked and underlined in my Bible. It's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
It's like my favorite quote ever. But yeah, there's a lot about those. Like there's a lot in it. But I think what I like the most about it, it's like, first of all, again, it's a do it your own way kind of religion. And Satanism is all about like rebelling against society and what's going on and like the rules and societal norms, and asexuality, as LaVey said here, is one of those ways to like rebel, because you experience things totally differently and you want them to be valid and you want to do it your own way. But the other thing, what I really like about those paragraphs here, is something that every asexual, or even every like written work about asexuality really underlines, but it's not something that we talk about a lot, is all the energy that other people would put on sexual attraction or anything, we put in different things. So, which is interesting, because it's like you are super devoted to other things. You have that energy that is not, I wouldn't call it wasting, but for a lack of better word right now, you're not wasting it on sex, you're putting it in different things. You are as devoted as other people are to like sexual activity, to other things. It can be anything, like your hobbies, your passions, your work, or your friends, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So when you hear this stuff from LaVey, he's on the money with this? You're on the same page?
Yeah. Weirdly, yes. I wouldn't expect that, but yes.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, especially, outsiders to LaVey, they would not maybe expect that.
Yes.
And there is something to it. I mean, just thinking back to especially my teen years and 20s, between the ages of, 16 and 30, I guess. Between those ages, I must have wasted a shocking amount of time just chasing around an opportunity for sex, basically. There's this girl in another township who I think will have sex with me. I don't know how to get there. The iPhone hasn't been invented yet. I have to figure this out, and it's going to take me all weekend. I'm going to do it. that a situation like that would just play out all the time, and I could have surely cured some sort of cancer or something with the hours that I spent chasing a girl that I suspected maybe wanted to have sex.
Oh my gosh. That is funny because it is funny, but also from like a sexual perspective, it's like, oh my gosh, that's, little teen boys are just interesting animals.
We're out of control. I mean, literally out of control. We have no control over what's happening to us. Well, shit, Aleks, don't let me end this thing without making sure you've gotten to say everything you want to say. Is there anything we've missed in all of this?
I don't think so. We actually got quite a bit. I think it's, you can talk about it for hours, but because for a lot of people, it's a new concept and totally different new experience and thing to think about. You don't want to say too much to make it like brain explosion. But yeah, I think we got quite a bit.
If nothing, we've learned that an asexual person can be a Satanist. You can still have romantic relationships. Mm-hmm. You can still be open to having sex, even if it's not the primary goal.
Yep.
And you can be part of a great satanic community and be supported and part of the gang.
Yeah. And still do rituals. I think that was one of the big things. They were like, oh my gosh, how do you do satanic rituals without sex? Like, this is impossible. But,
right.
No,
Right.
excuse me.
Right, because obviously satanic rituals all involve sexual orgies and
Oh,
any
absolutely.
number of other things.
I don't know how we do it, but that's all we do on our like Zooms, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I try
Yeah,
to I can't remember. I think it was also on a late night we got into like an orgy or ritual discussion, and some folks were like, "Yeah, there's no satanic orgies." And I was like, "Well, guys, I hate to tell you, there are."
I'm pretty sure I said that like a huge orgy that we have at camp is the only reason I'm going to
Oh,
come
yes.
there.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, so totally, that's all that's happening at
Yeah.
camp, right?
Yeah, we just finished. I guess at some point we'll have a wrap-up episode maybe. We'll probably wait till the end of the year and do a wrap-up, but we did have camp and it was a great time, and we can't talk about the orgies from camp. But
So you can't say about anything that happened because
yeah, I can't talk about most of camp.
Yeah.
Well, Aleks, first of all, let me say thank you for doing this. I appreciate you being so open and forthcoming with all of your personal business. And I've really appreciated having you as an active member of Satanic Delco.
Yeah, thank you. That was fun. That was interesting. I'm curious what I'm gonna hear back, and always like I don't feel like a lot of people is talking about asexuality, and it's always an experience, and it's new for me too, so I want to.
Yeah, I've never heard a discussion about satanic asexual people, so I thought there should be one.
Yep.
All right, cool. Good to talk to you, Aleks.
All right.
Take it
Thank
easy.
you.
All right, guys. If you have a moment, please visit the website at hailsatanpodcast.com. Stay safe out there. Hail Satan.
Schweden hebben. Hier wordt we hier